Today I'm going to deploy the audio file site straight to Vercel, and it will be free of charge. And I know you'll also be able to deploy your site to Vercel. You see it's now running on my local machine, but after the video we'll be able to run it on a domain. Thank you. Let's hop straight in. First, you need to have a Django project. If you don't have a Django project, I've left a link to my GitHub repo below in the description. You'll go and clone it and start. First, we'll start by creating 3 files. You need to configure 3 files that will be used by Vercel during the build phase. And the first file will be build_files.sh. This file is very critical. You'll put 2 commands. The first one is pip install requirements.txt. This will be used to install all the dependencies found in the requirements.txt, which is also a file we'll also create. And the second command is python 3.9 manage.py collect static. Those are the 2 files, the 2 commands you need in that very file. The second command will collect all the static files and folders in your project during the build phase. And the second file that is very important is known as the VERCEL.JSON. You also need to add this file, and the code, I'll not write it all, but I have it here. You'll also find it in the description below. What you need to change, the only thing you need to change is the project name. I'll remove the project name and put the actual name of my project, which is e-commerce. You'll also do the same on your end. Ensure the project name you put here is the folder that hosts your settings.py file. That is the project. Finally, we'll create the requirements.txt file using pip freeze the arrow sign requirements.txt. This will create the file requirements.txt file that will have all the dependency your project requires. And finally, I've created the 3 files: build_files.sh file that has that. We also have the requirements.txt file, and finally the vercel.json. We are ready to go to the next phase. After configuring the 3 files, you'll be required to head to the settings.py file. And the first thing you'll need to do is change the debug property to false. Ensure you do that. And in the allowed host, ensure you add .vercel.app, append.now.sh, and also append the local host, which is this. After you already configured the allowed host, the next thing you'll want to do is to change the database. You know, Vercel does not know SQLite. It recognizes maybe, let's say, SQL and Postgres. It does not do well with SQLite, and therefore we'll have to remove this from database, and we'll take, for us, we'll be using Postgres. We'll be using Postgres. Therefore, we'll change from SQLite to Postgres. We'll change from SQLite to Postgres. And the first thing you'll need to do after taking this, you'll change from the engine from SQLite to Postgres. You'll just copy this, and we'll now be required to head to Railway. You'll need to create an account in Railway. For me, after creating an account, you'll create a new service. You'll head to New, Deploy Postgres SQL. It will take a while. Let's give it some time. It will take a while. Ensure you do this because SQLite is not conversant with Vercel. Ensure you change to Postgres. Let's give it some time to create the service. It's almost done. That's good. We'll now head to the variables part. Ensure you head to the variables part of your service and copy. Let's start with the PG database. Copy that, head back here, and in the name, that's where you put that. We'll head now to the port, copy the port, place the port there, and go to the password, copy that, copy the password, go back here, paste the password here, head to the user, copy the user, paste it there. And for the host, this host provided here, the PG host provided here, mostly doesn't work. Now we'll head to the settings.py, the settings part of this service, and copy this port. Don't use the port given in the variables part. Copy this. Copy that, put it there in the host, and instead of the port given there, we'll come back and use this port, this other port, the 43318. We'll use that port and we'll be ready to go. Before we proceed, we'll now have to migrate our database from SQLite to Postgres. And the command we'll use for that is python manage.py migrate. That's the command we'll use. We'll give it some time. It may take a while. We'll just give it some time. I don't know how long, but it usually takes some time. So you can, we'll come back after this. It's now done. The SQLite database has been successfully migrated to Postgres, and you can even confirm. You can see the data. And one thing to note is that it's free, simply free. It's very simple and it's free. Very good service provided by Railway here. And we'll continue from here. Now, after migrating your database from SQLite to Postgres, you'll also need to create a static root. We'll also need to create for me, I already created it when I was building the project. You will have now to ensure you add the static root. This is where Vercel will locate the static folders, and this is where during the build phase it will be really required for the static assets you have for your project. Ensure you have the static root, and it's here. And for those maybe you'll have issues with OS, ensure you import OS at the very top. You import OS and you'll be good to go. I think we are done with the settings file. Everything is done. The static root, ensure you have the static root. Ensure you have changed the database from SQLite to Postgres. Ensure you change your debugged files, and also your allowed hosts. Ensure you've added the .vercel.app, the local host, and the .now.sh. After that, we'll head to the wsgi. Don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's wsgi, anything you want, and you'll add a variable app gets application. Vercel will look for that. Ensure you add that app gets application. And after that, finally, we'll head to the urls.py. We'll head to the urls.py and ensure you have this. Ensure you have this URL pattern in your urls.py. This is your main urls.py file, your project urls.py. You ensure you have this, the url.patterns, static settings.static URL document underscore root get settings.static root. This is where Vercel will put your static folders during the build phase. Ensure you add this URL pattern. And after all this, we are done configuring the code. We are now going to push the code to GitHub, and after pushing to GitHub, we'll now go and host the site live. Before we push the code to GitHub, I forgot one thing. When you use Postgres, the database Postgres, you need to add a dependency called psychopg2 binary. If you don't add this dependency, you'll face a lot of issues. So before we proceed, you will install that package pip install psychopg2 binary. Ensure you have installed this. Pip install psychopg2 binary. Ensure you have this. For me, I think I already have the package. For you, ensure you install this. Yes, requirement already satisfied. For you, ensure you have it. And after installing the package, you need to run the pip freeze command again, so that the dependency can be added to your requirements.txt file. When you go to your requirements.txt file, you will find psychopg2 and psychopg2 binary. Ensure you remove the psychopg2 and the psychopg. Just remain with the psychopg2 binary. Ensure you have the psychopg2 binary dependency before you start pushing code anywhere. And right away after we finish that, we'll push our code to GitHub. Ensure you have a GitHub account. I'll put a link on how to push if you require one. You'll start by git init. This will initialize a Git repository in this file, this folder. After that, we'll add all the files to the staging area by git add. And after git add, we'll commit git commit with a message. I can even go with initial commit. And after that, after you're finished all, you'll now have to push the code, git push, and will require the URL to your repo. For me, I'll create a new repository to host this very project. Let's give it some time. It may just load for a minute or two. I'll give it a name. You can even name it audio file Vercel, anything you see fit for you, and then you create the repo. This is where your code will be hosted at GitHub at a repository called audio file Vercel. Ensure you have that. Ensure you have a GitHub account, because you can't you can't host your site on Vercel if you don't have one. It will be easier this way. Now copy the very code, the very URL, and come back, git push, paste the code. You just right click, and then we are on master branch. So you put that, and your code will be pushed to GitHub straight away. Done. Finally, we have come to the very last step. This is where we'll be hosting our very project in Vercel. Ensure you've created an account in Vercel. It's free. You see I have 4 services running, and we're going to create the 5th service. I'll just come to the add new tab, add a new project, add a new project. Let's give it some time. And the good thing about Vercel, it gives you a mechanism where you can import your Git repository. For you, you'll have to link your Git repository with the Vercel. After you have linked, you'll come and you add your GitHub account. And for me, it's already verified, so it will be smooth. For you, you'll have to configure. You'll be guided appropriately, and you'll be able to link your GitHub account to Vercel, the third party. Go ahead and access the very repo. You don't give it full access to your GitHub account, you just give it access to the repos you want it to use. For me, I just scroll down, select repositories. The repository we added was known as audio file Vercel, so I'll look for that. Audio file, exactly this, that one, and then you save it. After you've added it, you save it. To now save it, it will be among the repositories that are being accessed by the Vercel core. And look for it, it's here, audio file Vercel, import. Exactly. And then you can give it a name, because this name will be associated with the domain that Vercel will use. The problem is, with a free thing, it must come with a cost. Your site will have a .vercel.app at the very end, so you'll have to bear that. If you want to upgrade, I can also do a video on how to attach it to a different domain. Audio file, I can even name it audio file Vercel, just retain how it was. And after you do that, there's nothing else you want to do. You just want to deploy, because you already configured the build files in the very first step, so you're ready to go. So you just deploy. But I want to assure you one thing: the very first deployment will fail. It will fail because there's a problem with Vercel with Django and Python. As I told you, it has failed. The only thing we'll need to change is the node version of Vercel from 22 to 18. After changing your node version from 22 to 18, you'll see it will work instantly. It has an issue. Let's go and inspect it. It has something with the build underscore files.sh. So you'll navigate to audio file Vercel. You'll tap the name of it. It will take you to the panel where it has everything, and then you navigate to the settings part. You come and look for the node version here. You see it's at 22. Even 20 won't work. It's 18. 18 will work, and then you save it. The next thing you'll want to do is redeploy the app, redeploy the web app. After it saves, it already updated the node version. So what you need to do is come and to the deployments again. We want to redeploy this very web app, and you'll see it will work. Vercel has an issue with the node version, and this is what differentiates this tutorial with all the others you'll find in YouTube, because it offers a solution in 2024. Even 2025, it will be still valid. Your Django project will be hosted successfully in Vercel. Let's give it time. I'm so sure you can take it to the bank. It must build. It will work. As long as you have followed each and every step I've done on your end, it must work. Let's give it some time to build as it's building, and we'll have our web app up and running. It will be online. You can even take the link, the very links in the domains here, and put it on your phone, and you will see your web app will be deployed even in your phone. It's online. Basically, it has been deployed. Let's give it some time. It will even give us some celebration here. It has been quite a journey. I know you have enjoyed it. You have learned more about Vercel. Hooray, we can even celebrate. You can, as you can see, it will take some time. For the first time after it has been deployed, it may take some time, but it's done. We have deployed the audio file site to Vercel. It's now working live. You can even search the very domain and see it is working. As I told you, this YouTube channel never fails. You will get what you wanted. You can see it's working on this very domain. Web app is working. You can take this site and put it in any device that is connected to the internet, and you will find this very web app. Thank you so much. Even as I'm going to finish, please ensure you subscribe, give a comment, describe what you faced, and if there's any issue, I'll be very happy to solve all of them. And please subscribe and like. We'll be very happy. Thank you so much. Welcome again to Text.